So welcome again to our reading of the Acts of the Apostles. We're up to chapter 16 and verse 16. This is the imprisonment in Philippi. So, egeneto, it came to pass, and we get a genitive absolute, as we, now Luke uses the we form here because he's now with them. It came to pass that we are going out, as to prosucan. Now we've seen before this word normally means prayer, but in this context seems to be a place of prayer. So it came to pass that as we were going out to this place of prayer, and after egeneto, we're getting accusative and infinitive construction. That apaidiskain, this is a servant girl. You can see it's feminine. Apaidiskain, a certain servant girl. Ekusan, feminine participle, having a pneuma puthona. Now this is an interesting word here. This is literally a python. And it's probably connected with Apollo, whose name in Greek is also Pytho. So it's a pagan spirit of divination, connected with the god Apollo. Now, of course, at Delphi, where the oracle of Apollo was, the priestess would become inspired by the god, begin wailing and making very strange sounds, and then the priest would interpret them. And whether that's connected with the same sort of thing here is unclear. Plutarch refers to these people as ventriloquists. That is, they speak on behalf of the god, as though the god had taken control over them, and they just speak. The Old Testament has this idea of a familiar spirit, which is probably a similar kind of thing here. So having literally a spirit of Python, that's the spirit of Apollo perhaps, and after the accusative we get an infinitive, that she, hupentasai, she met up with us. Hupentao, to meet. This is the aorist infinitive. Hatis, she, and it's emphatic she, the very one who, so she who, paraken, provided, polen egasian, literally much gain, so perhaps much income, much revenue, tois kurios, autes, for her masters. And she did this by mantuomene, by prophesying. This is a very common word in classical Greek, but it's only here used in the New Testament. For a mantis is a seer, mantuomai is to utter an oracle. Haute, she, kata koluthusa, this is kata plus akoluthio, but it's a present feminine participle. She, following after Paul and us, ekrasden, from krasdo, she was crying out, legusa, saying, feminine participle. These men understand, there it is there, they are, asin, douloi, servants or devotees of the Most High God. They who, cat angelusi, who are reporting to you, or announcing, I should say, who are announcing to you hodon, a way of salvation. Now, remember, the early Christianity was often called the hodos, the way, so that may be connected with this here, but it's just, the Greek just says, who are announcing to you a way of salvation. Epoie, she was doing this, epipolas hemeras, for many days. Diaponethes, this is only here in the New Testament and in Acts 4, this verb, It's diaponio, and it's aorist passive here. So having become grieved or annoyed. So Paul, having become annoyed, kai epistrepsas, and having turned to the Spirit, said, Parangelo soi, I command to you in the name of Jesus Christ, exelthane apautes, to come out from her. Kai exelthe, and it came out, where am I looking? So kai exelthe, and it came out in that hour, in that very hour. Idontes, hoi kurioi, her masters, having seen this, that the elpis, literally the hope of gain, so the expectation of a revenue, exalthen, had gone out from them, so that they had lost their means of revenue. Epi labominoi, laying hands on Paul and Silas. Hail Kusan, this is from Helkuo, we get a funny augment here, from Helkuo, they dragged them, Aestan Agoran, into the marketplace to the rulers. Interesting here that although Luke was saying us and we, he doesn't get drawn up with this. It's only Paul and Silas who get arrested here. Kai pros agagontes autus, and leading them to the strategoi, to the generals, apan, they said, Hutoi hoianthropoi, these men, ek tarasusin, this is from Tarasso, ek tarasso, they stir up, Tampolin Hamon, our city. Hoop are contest participle, just really like the verb to be, so they being Jews. Being Jews, they stir up the city, and they katangelusi, they report or announce, perhaps they announce ethe, customs. Now that's neuter plural from ethos. It's to ethos, it's neuter plural. So they announce customs, which are not lawful for us, paradekeste, to receive nor to do. And then in apposition to hemon, we get the dative plural participle here from the verb to be, for us being Romans. So for us who are Romans. Kai sun este. Now, by the way, these strategoi are probably some magistrates. Another way of translating them, we've translated them as generals, literally. So as soldiers, generals, strategois, but they're probably something like magistrates here. Kai sun epeste, and the crowd. Now this is from sun plus epi plus histemi. So sun in company with them, epi against, and histemi to stand. So the crowd stood with them against kat auton, against them, and the strategoi, literally the generals, but perhaps the magistrates, peri rexantes auton ta hematia, having torn their garments, well, not their own garments, but the garments of Paul and Silas. So the magistrates, having torn their garments, ekeliuon, they were giving orders, rabdizdain, to beat, understand, them. So they were giving orders for them to be beaten, but it's not, the Greek actually says they were giving orders to beat, understand, them. Rabdos is a staff, so rabdizdain is to whack someone with a stick. Polos te, so epithentes from epitithemi, literally laying, Now we had polas, and that goes with this plergas. Many blows on them. So the epi here with the tithemi. So having placed many blows upon them, Ebelon, they cast them into the prison. Parengelantes, having given orders to the desmophulax is the chief, the guard of the prison. So having given orders to the guard of the prison, the desmophulax, aspelos, to keep them, aspelos, well, safely, but I think here more in the sense of securely, to keep them securely. And he reported Toyaten, he having announced such a thing, having taken, he cast them into the innermost prison. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. That's not a verb here. This is parangelian. This is a noun. So this is a feminine noun. Goes with the tos auton. So he, having received such a message, such a parangelon, such an order, he cast them into the innermost prison. Sorry, my eyesight's getting worse here. Parangelian is a feminine noun. So he having having received such a message, such an announcement, he cast them into the prison, into the innermost prison, and asphelicita, from asphelisdamai, he made secure, it's connected with that asphelos we had up here, he secured their feet, the feet of them, Astot zulon, literally in the wood, so in the stocks. Zulon is just a word for wood, but here we have to understand in the wooden stocks, so he's put them into the stocks. Katadeto mesonuktion, and about the middle of the night, Paul and Silas, prosukomenoi, praying, hum noon, this is from hum no'o, it's the imperfect, you get on, and that contracts to un, so they were singing a hymn to God, ep a kroonto. Now this is from ep, this is a fairly rare verb, this is from ep akroamai. Ep akroamai. Akroamai you do get in the New Testament. It means to listen to. Ep akroamai is intensitive. It means to listen intently to. It's very rare. It's only here in the New Testament. The corresponding noun, the ep akroasis, is found in the Septuagint. So this here, we've got here the imperfect. So hoi desmoi, this is the inmates, the people who are in the prison, the inmates were listening intently to them, and it takes a genitive. Ampho, suddenly, I'm sorry, I've lost my place here. Here we are. Aphno. Suddenly, there was a great earthquake, hosty, so that the foundations of the prison, Saluthanai, were shaken. So that the foundations of the prison to be shaken. This is an aorist passive infinitive. Ainiokthesan. This is from anoigo. This verb gets hashed around quite a lot in biblical Greek. We've got a triple augment. We've got an augment there, and augment there, even though it's only just an aorist passive. So were opened. So immediately all the doors were opened, and the bonds of all of them are anethe. Now that's a tricky form here. This is from anhiami. This is from anhiami. And this is an aorist passive, anethe from anhiami. The root of hiami is the I, and which has been turned into an e here, and then you get the aorist passive. So the bonds of all were released. Ex hupnos, and the desmophulax, the chief of the prison, having become ex hupnos, having become awake, and having seen the doors of the prison, aniogmenos, that again is from anoigo. This is the perfect, this time, passive participle, and it's feminine, agreeing with thuras. The doors of the prison having been opened. Sparsamenos, from spao, having drawn his makhiron, his dagger, his short sword. He was about, imperfect from mellow, with a funny augment here we've seen before, and hyrein, and hyrio is to do away with one, to kill. So he was about to kill hiauton himself. Nomisdon, thinking that, ek perfugenai, this is a perfect infinitive. The normal ending is kenai, but because of the guttural we don't get the kappa, disappears. So considering that the servants had escaped, so thinking not the servants, sorry, that the desmius, thinking that the prisoners had escaped. Ephonasen, Peter called out with a loud voice, saying, this is a aorist subjunctive here used in place of an imperative, may you do nothing evil to yourself, for we are all enthade here. Aetesas, having asked for phota, a light, probably lights here, having asked for lights, es epedesen, this is it's only here in the New Testament, only once in the Septuagint. It literally means to leap in. So it's just, he rushed in, and genominos entromos, having become trembling, and shaking in fear, pros epesen, from pros pipto, aorist, he fell before Paul and Silas. Kai pros agon, and leading them outside, he said, Kurioi, masters, what is it necessary for me to do, hina sotho, in order that I might be saved? And they said, imperative, believe in, or believe on, believe in. Pistuo you can use with pistuo epi, it's just like pistuo en or pistuo with the dative. It all means much the same thing. So believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved. This is a future passive here from sozo. Second person singular, aorist passive. You will be saved and your house. Kai elalesen, and they spoke to him the word of the Lord with all those in his house. And having taken them in that hour of the night, Eleusen, he washed. This is from luo. So he washed literally from their wounds. The plague, remember they got beaten with rods, and they've got probably bloody wounds, so he washed them from their wounds. And he himself, aorist passive, was baptized, and all those of him, paracrama forthwith, immediately. And bringing them up into the house, he laid before them a table, and he was glad, he became glad, from agaliaomai, panoike, along with his whole house. This again is a very, only here in the New Testament and elsewhere, rare. It's really a dative originally, but it's used adverbially here. Along with his whole house, having believed, perfect participle in God, with a dative here. So this is a perfect participle from pistuo. And hemeras de genomenes, genitive absolute, and when day arrived, when day occurred, the strategoi, these are the generals, probably the magistrates, they sent to the rabdukus. These are the, it's literally the rod bearers. So these are the lictors. If you're looking at Roman names, you can look up lictors. It's a Roman name, and these are the rod bearers. Probably best to translate it as lictors, perhaps. So the generals, having said to the lictors, to the rod bearers, release these men, literally those men, and the desmophulax, the guard of the prison, reported these words to Paul, that hoi strategoi, literally the general or the magistrates, apestal khan, and I just notice the ending here. That khan, it should really be kasin, and now we're getting khan for the third person. This is perfect from apostello. So they had sent, sorry, they have sent. Perfect. But this particular ending is seen in papyri from about 164 onwards, and so it's become part of the New Testament vernacular to use khan instead of kasin for the third person plural in the perfect here. So the magistrates have sent in order that, or perhaps that, you might be released. Aorist passive subjunctive, second person plural. That you might be released. Now therefore, having come out, imperative, go in peace. But Paul said to them, having beaten us, demosia, this is adverbial here, in public, akatakritus, without a trial, we, being huparchontes, men who are Romans, ex ebelon, they cast us into prison. Now this is the weak aorist from bello. We have the strong aorist just before, so they're interchangeable really. They cast us into prison, and now lathra in secret, they kick us out. Uga, it's a bit like our no way. Not at all. So no way. But let they themselves, having come, let them lead us out. So this is a third person plural imperative aorist. You don't get too many of these. This is that etozan ending. Let them lead us out, from ex ago. Third person plural imperative. Ap Agalan, they reported to the generals, to the magistrates. It's the subject is this. The rabdukoi, these are the lictors, the rod holders, reported to the magistrates these words, and they were afraid, having heard that they are Romans. Because they've treated them very badly. You're not supposed to do this to Roman citizens. They just thought they were Jews. Kai exelthontes, and having come, well, it's literally they encouraged them. It's almost they apologized to them, and having led them out, they were asking them to depart from the city. And having come out from the prison, they went into Lydia. And having seen them, they encouraged the brothers, and they exalthan, they went out, or they departed. And that's the end of chapter 16.